Welcome to Saturday Night Live, coming from Southern Indiana. The time is 9:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the USA. Welcome, people. Just pray that Spectrum don't cut out like it did last night. That makes 3 times or 4 times this month. Hello, Yoakum. Hello, Cat. How you doing? Welcome, my friend. Oh, yes, I got my socks on. It's about 32 degrees outside right now. And I got maybe 4 or 5 cats. It's on the porch in the cage with the heat lamp. You know, hope I hope everything goes good tonight. I hope everybody has a good weekend. You know, hope everybody has a good time enjoying my YouTube. I want to thank you all for coming up here, listen to this old man, maybe get a little education and do the right thing. You know, I know your parents, while you was a kid growing up, they teach you right from wrong. They gave you all good advice. And I want you people, if your parents are still alive, tell them you love them. You know, tell them you love them. And if you're young, tell your parents you love them before you go to school or they go to work. Tell them you love them. Shut up! Go take a cold shower. And you know, is all you got. Learn from your parents. Remember what your parents would teach you. One day you all gonna get married and you're gonna have kids. When has taught you, you teach your kids. And like when I was a kid, hello Fuzzy. Well, some parents is dumb as you hot. Some of them is dumb. You know, they must not be too dumb because you're here. You know, some kids, hey, pink kid, some kids thinks their parents is dumb. They don't want to listen to their parents. If I had to do it all over again, people, I would listen instead of being a smart aleck. Didn't pay attention. You know, when I was young, we got a butt blisters with a belt or apple switch or stuff like that. Today, you can't whip a kid. You can't tell a kid to go to bed at 9 o'clock on a school night like my parents did because they want you to get plenty of rest and well, you can go to school the next day or whenever. So trust your parents, but you know right from wrong. That's a fact. I got a question for you all. You're my family here on YouTube. I've been divorced a long, long, long time, about 30 plus years. You hear me talk about foxy ladies, and I want to talk to you all about one foxy lady that I was married to. And she's still a foxy lady at her age of 60, maybe 67, 68 years old. She got married. She had a son with the husband she lost years ago. And she gets survivorship, Social Security, plus she gets Social Security. And see, I own my own house. She owns her own house. And I don't mind living with a person. And what you people here, since you're my family, I know what you all said about getting back with your exes. Say if I was to get back with my ex-wife and say she move in with me, so just for the weekend, I would think that'd be okay. Getting married, here's the part about if you get married. She's on Social Security. I'm on Social Security. She getting survivorship from her late husband. And I make house payments through the government. Okay. They would want to know what her income is and my income combined together. That means my house payment will go from about $300 a month, probably say $500 to $1,000 a month with both incomes. And I get food stamps. With her income, I would lose my food stamps, if we got married. Maybe she would lose, hello 709, but she would lose maybe her survivorship. You see where I'm trying to go here, people? You're my family. You're very smart people on here. I don't with a woman, but I don't want to get married. When you all people gets a divorce, there's a reason. Either your spouse cheated on you or vice versa, and you didn't get along. I'm asking you all for your opinion. Leave it in the comments, and I go back through there tomorrow and see what you say. I know you all said not to take ex-wife back. We both old. And that's what I'm asking you as my YouTube family. Hello, 709. And my daughter from that marriage, she contacted her brother and said she can watch my videos. So that means she's not blocked. Hello, official. Hello, how you doing? You know, she can't make a comment. You know, she hasn't been on here for a while. The last time she was on here a month or so ago, she was in timeout. And you can only be in time. Join. Okay, you decide what you want to do in the Navy. You know, how may do you want to be a doctor, or a lawyer, or a helicopter pilot, or a jet pilot? You know, okay, to be an officer, you know, you can be a helicopter pilot, a nurse, jet pilot, a lawyer, which a lawyer in the Navy would be JAG, you know, but you need to make sure you get whatever you want to do, you want to get it in writing, like like a, sign that you would do that, get it in writing. Maybe you want to be a lawyer and you become a member of JAG. Military got all kinds of different, they got what's OCS, Officer Candidate School. I think you can get that in writing. But, you have to look all this stuff up. Talk to a recruiter and see how you can become an officer. Do you like to fly a helicopter? I think Navy does have helicopters on the aircraft carrier. You might want to look in. Hello, grandson. That's what you do. That gives you ideas. Say, if you want to be a helicopter pilot, you have to give them extra time. And you're going to have to go through boot camp. And they're going to give you some written tests, about flying and mechanics and all kinds of stuff. See what you qualify for. And you can look into it. But learning how to fly, they got games, official, since you're smart. The weather here is about 32 degrees, Jacob. You can learn how to fly a helicopter. Okay. You got to give them extra time. Maybe after you serve your time as a helicopter pilot, there's jobs that you can get in the civilian world, like helicopter ambulance, which we got helicopters within 100 miles in case they need an air ambulance, which would be a helicopter. You still be flying the helicopter. Then when it's time for you to go to your reserves thing, you can go back flying a helicopter. But that gives you something to do in civilian life, fly a helicopter. Hello, crying fish. And also, you can get games if you got a laptop or a desktop. You get a simulator for your computer. Yeah, a mechanic for the Army is good. A mechanic for the Navy is good. And you can always get your job as a helicopter pilot. Maybe for a local TV station. Or maybe you come a helicopter for the state police in your state. Go to the police academy and you can fly a state police helicopter. That's something you can look into. And, that's just some ideas, to help your younger people out. If you can't afford to go to college, you might want to look at the military. If you want to be a lawyer, you can look at the military, or a doctor, or a nurse, or stuff like that. They pay for it, but make sure you get it guaranteed in writing. That's just some idea. See, also, I forget what the Navy call them. Maybe SP, Shore Patrol. That's good because, like Indiana, they want you to take college courses, in law enforcement, some kind of law enforcement degree to get in most of your state police. Indiana wants you to have some kind of college course. Hello there, young person. Dave. Okay, that'll help you get your feet wet. And some police departments, you can do a ride along with them. You can ride with them. Your parents will have to sign a paper with the law enforcement. That's I never. You're the first person I hear a police officer coming a school teacher. That is pretty good. Pick that police officer for their service. I know they got school resource officers, but not all police officers is bad people. You got you got more good police officers than you do bad ones. You can ask him, say maybe you like to get into law enforcement. What college courses would you recommend? Like I know Indiana State Police, they want you to take some college courses. keep your nose clean. Keep your nose clean. No drugs, no alcohol. They're gonna do a background check from the time you was in diapers all the way through school. You know, even the FBI, Secret Service. They go really strong on background. I mean, they start talking to your neighbors and your family, your school people, your teachers. They really do a background check on you, which you probably talk to your teacher. Yeah, they can do that. When you get in law enforcement, they're going to do a background check on you. You know, just keep your nose clean. No drugs. Hello, doctor. No drugs. No alcohol. Don't break any law. Well, a speeding ticket, I don't think he'll mind about that, but just keep your nose clean. Stay out of trouble. And maybe go to church. That'll help you. The police departments like people who goes to church. And maybe if you speak different language, maybe Mexican, Puerto Rican, or Russian, that'll help you out since we got illegals here in the United States. You know, yeah, that's true. They know they can trust you. And maybe you want to come, well, Army, Marines, Air Force, they call them MPs, military police. I think the Navy calls them SP, Security Patrol, or I don't know, SP, Squid Patrol, or something. I forget what the Navy is. And the way it was when I was in the military, if you want to come MP, they sent you to the FBI Academy. I don't know if they still do that or not. And everybody in all 50 states has to go to the police academy. If it's city, county, you go to the police academy. Marshals, Secret Service, FBI, state police goes to the police academy. Like a state trooper, they go to the police academy. And your city and county, they go to the police academy. But what I like to see here in Indiana, or maybe all 50 states, that a city or county or town marshal goes to the police academy, let them take the same training as the state police, which it don't happen here, at least here in Indiana. If you say you're a county cop or a city cop, you go to the police academy. You say, well, you want to go to the state police, and you have to go to the state police academy. Margaret, hush. Go take a cold shower. It done been a week. kitty cat's only supposed to do this for a week, but you're going tomorrow. You start your second week, and that's something to look into. I'm not going to tell you what to do because if I tell you to do that, you do it, and you don't like it, you'll blame me. I want you to make your own judgment. I guarantee you, it drives me up the wall. She got me yesterday. She came a running in here, and I don't know if you can see it right here. This little spot. If I can get close to it. She drew blood. I mean, it bled like a stiff pig. I tried a cold wash rag to stop it. It just kept bleeding, so I went and got me one sheet of toilet paper and stuck it on it. Margaret, what? You see this? I showed her that, and she got up and took off. Go in there and catch that cotton-picking mouse on the floor. Catch that mouse. Since it came out of the cabinet, so catch that mouse. Earn your keep. But, military would teach you some manners and give you a trade, but they going to give you all kinds of tests. I'm going to have to get some catnip mouse. I think these kitty cats can probably tear it up, and I don't know what happened to it. That's usually what happens. You get in some catnip stuff, and you can't find it. They done picked it up and took it everywhere. I had catnip mouse, took an old sock, tied up, and they carry that sock every place all over the house. I never did find that sock. But it's okay. But, military is good for men and women. If your parents, you got a dream of going to college. Maybe you like to fly a helicopter. Yeah, I got a cat tree. I had it in here, then I moved it out there. And those tubes, they make it too cheap. They kept jumping of it, and they tore that plastic piece you got in the bottom of it. They tore it up. So I re-glued it, and I'm going to have to get one of those radiator clamps where I can put around it and tighten it up and screw it back onto the cat tree. But man, those radiator clamps that you screw on your hose, they're not cheap anymore. I bought one. Oh, I had to buy a bunch of them. I just can't buy one. There's 5, 6, 7, 8. All you can buy. You just can't buy one thing anymore. And that's right. I have to look down. I got to clean the cat box out tomorrow. And take some more cat litter out there on the northwest where my drain pipe goes under the road. Start putting some more cat litter to fill up all those big rocks. until I can get some dirt and spread over it. At least that cat litter are packed down, then I can put a bunch of dirt on it and maybe plant some grass on it. That's what I'm planning on doing. But people, think about it. If you want to be a nurse and you can't go to college, or you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or anything like it, think of the military and get it guaranteed in writing. You know, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you can't afford to go to college and you want to be a doctor, lawyer, pilot, helicopter pilot, or anything like that, think about joining the military. I'm not going to say which military. If you're a short person, I mean short, maybe if you don't mind being in the submarine underwater for months at the time, if you don't care being enclosed in a fine space, you got to be a short person to be in submarines. You know, it's up to you all what you like to be. I just giving you all advice. You do your research on it. You know, if I had to do it all over again, people, I would study hard in school and I would apply to be a helicopter pilot. That's what I would have done back in my day. But you don't realize until years and years and years later, you know. Where the guy threw his mama off of the train? Is that the one with, what's his name? He played in the movie Taxi, the little fat guy. No, Sloan? No, it wasn't Sloan, but the guy that wanted to get rid of his mother on a train was that little fat guy that was on Taxi. I guess he was the manager in that movie. What's on TV right now? Is it? Oh, it's Combat on TV. You all remember those old black and white shows of Combat? Because I just watched Tour of Duty, which that was about Vietnam. What else is on after Combat? Gilson Gorillas is next. I guess 12 o'clock high will be on too tonight. Or um, what is it? Pappy Boynton. Maybe yeah, DeVicchio. Yeah, DeVicchio. He's the one that was going to throw his mother off of the train. He's also played in Taxi. Yeah, Have Gun Real Travel. We got a YouTuber that went by that name, but his name is John. He's a moderator. Yeah, Paladin. That's that's what he Paladin. He's on YouTube, but I don't know if they got on him or what. But his name is John something on here now, and he's a moderator. You younger people, I know me and my daughter have been going around and around. Well, it's more my son, her brother going around. She can watch my videos. And I know about timeout. You can only put a person in timeout for 24 hours. She's not blocked. If she can watch my videos, she's not blocked. And she said she can't make any comments, but she can watch the videos. And since I'm on my cell phone, knock on wood, right now until the internet spectrum decide to go screwy again, you never know about Spectrum Internet, which Spectrum is part of Charter. There's three of them. There's Spectrum, Charter, I forget the third one. But people, hello, Luke. I don't know. I got people that they put in timeout maybe 5 minutes up to 24 hours. Now, I got this one person, he kept arguing and arguing and arguing. Tell them, and they still do it. They got timeout for 24 hours 5 times, and he's a pretty good person. But why should I have to put him in timeout 5 times in 24 hours? I shouldn't have to do that. After once or twice, you should learn your lesson. And I also want to tell your kids, do not mix. I know it shouldn't happen after 1 or 2 times, but it took him 5 times to figure out he's not following my rules. He wanted to argue, and I'm not going to put up with arguing or gay stuff, hate crimes, or anything. I'm not going to put up with it. But let's get back to the kids. I know there's kids on here with their parents or the guardian. And what I'm telling you, kids, do not put your age on here, because you get a timeout. And this one moderator put you in timeout 24 hours. I said, don't do that. I said, tell them what they done wrong and maybe put them in a timeout for 5 minutes, but explain to them. I try to explain everything to my family. You all in my family, the closest thing I got to a real family. I want to thank you all for listening to me. Yeah, they was on here, I think, last night, but I had problems with the internet last night. One was about 20-something minutes. The other maybe 30 or 40 minutes before the internet went out. So And I know there's rich people on here. This is going towards Elon Musk about Starlink. You looking at $300 to $500 up front. You're looking at $100, $200 a month for Starlink. And you have to look at the plans of unlimited data. And I wish Elon Musk would let me use Starlink, you know, like maybe charge me $50 a month for unlimited data. And teach you all about this. Now, I know it costs up to $500 to get Starlink and all that, anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. But right now, people, Spectrum Internet is up to $90 a month. Ain't worth a plug nickel. They talk about fiber optic cable coming. But last night, the whole East Coast went down. Say from Indiana to New York, the East Coast. It's always the East Coast that goes down. Always. It's never the West Coast or the North. It's always the East Coast internet goes down. Now, I don't know why. I like to work out a deal with Elon Musk. I like to try Starlink, but I don't have the money. I don't want the TV part of it. I just want the internet. I could teach you all about Starlink. How's this doing? The speed on it. Well, I like to have a computer instead of my cell phone. That'd be more of the test, and on the cell phone Wi-Fi. That's what I like to do. I know there's people out there that's on my YouTube channel. I know a whole lot of people on here that watches. It's VIP people. And I like to give that a try. That's what I like to do. But I'm not rich, people. I live on a fixed income. And what I get a month, time I pay all my bills, I might be in the red at the end of the month. I got more bills and I got money coming in. It costs me about $100 a month for cat food. I like to try Starlink. I watch videos about Starlink, but there's nobody like me, I think, on YouTube that's using it for YouTube. I like, promote Starlink for Elon Musk, but I'm nobody important. I don't have the watch hours. My laptop died a year ago that I got. It didn't last about 3 months before it died on me. Which you go back and watch the other videos, people, and you can see what I've been talking about. And I like I like to put my computer back out in the living room where I can sit in a good comfortable chair, use my studio mics. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Welcome back again. You see this? All I do is grab my fly swatter, and she took off from being a good girl. I haven't hit her with it, but she sees me killing flies with it, so she knows she'd be good. I never had to use the fly swatter on them, but she watched me kill the flies, and I got people. You got to trust your animals. Your animals are smarter, and you give them credit. If you got dogs or you got cats or whatever kind of animal you got for a pet in your house, they're smarter and what you think they are. They're smarter than what you think they are. And since I'm 47 minutes into it, yeah, I hope we stay friends. I hope you subscribe to me, people. You know people who's sick in the hospital. You might go visit or work in I want you all to thank a nurse for their service. I believe nurses would appreciate if you thank them for their service. I got a nurse that comes in here. I call him RM. It's REZA or something like that in Canada. He works in the ER in Canada. And trauma, ICU, burn unit, and all this. So I want you all people out there, next time you go visit somebody in a nursing home or a hospital or even the doctors. I don't know what part of Canada that REM's in. Maybe Ontario or somewhere. Because I got 3 people in here from Canada. I got Jacob, he's in Canada. 709's from Canada. He's from, I know I'm going to screw this up. 709's from Newfoundland, Finland, where 709's from. You know, but REM works in a hospital in Canada. I can't remember all of it. But usually he stops in here when he takes a break. Takes about a 10-minute break just to stop in and say hello. Yeah, Newfoundland. You just go to 709 concert videos. Go to his YouTube channel. And you see videos where he lives up there in Canada. The animals, you know, the mooses and ducks and dogs and whatever else they got up there in Canada. He shows snow. That's one part of Canada I wouldn't want to live. Because I saw a video of 709 walking. Well, I ain't got any kitty cats in here. They probably all out there sleeping in a chair. And my outside cats is on the porch in a dog cage. I got my porch all enclosed with tarp to keep the wind from getting. And I got a dog cage with straw in it and carpet and a heat lamp and insulation around the dog cage. And there's about 4 or 5 of them, kitty cats in it right now. There's Captain, there's Snowball, probably Wildcat, maybe a little bit, and Little Blackie. Little Blackie, I say that's a she cat. And she's a scaredy cat. If she's in that dog cage and I happen to look out, she sees me, she get out of that cage like she's a scaredy cat. That's one thing about Boots. Boots is the mother of Captain, Wildcat, Little Bit, Blackie, Midnight. She never does have her kitty cats in the yard or underneath the shed or in the shed. Hello, RM. Lordy, I guess you're going to be spending the night there at the hospital. And I hope you don't have as much snow that 709 has. One of his videos when he walked his dog with 24 plus inches of snow, how they, you can figure it's about 24 inches. Oh, Lord, that means you're in Toronto. Okay, people, RM lives in Toronto. And somebody asked me what province you live in. I said, I don't really remember, but, people, RM, REZA-1223. You can go to his YouTube channel. He's a male nurse in Toronto, Canada. He works in the ER, which he missed it. And he works in the ER, ICU, trauma, and all that in the hospital. And I told you, if he takes a break, he'll be in here for a few minutes and he'll get back out and go back to work. And people, I like Canada. I love Canada. I don't understand why the United States don't have medical plans like Canada has. I don't understand that. Us old people, like me, if I was in Canada, I wouldn't have to make no co-payments, and probably the medicine would be cheaper there in Canada. Plus, people here in the United States, look on your, I guess it's cereal boxes. I think it's cereal. You got yellow dyes, red dyes, and stuff like that. Here in the United States, you go to Canada and other countries, they don't have it. They don't have the chemicals in the water like we do here in the USA. People, I'm not a nurse or a doctor, but you all remember from health class, biology, our bodies can only take so much chemicals before it all breaks down, where we get cancer, we get diabetes, our bodies can only take so much chemical. And like Canada, they don't have all the chemicals in their stuff like we do. And that's what I like about Canada. And where 709 is, east of him is St. John's. I thought St. John's was bigger than that because I used to watch Hudson and Rex on TV. Yeah, it tell me to keep my nose clean, keep your mouth shut, you know, and help you out. Because I like talking to the COs, you know. I like to talk to the COs. I'm not a crackhead either, people. You know, I was learning, you know, because a whole lot of inmates talk to the guards at the prison where I was at. You know, you was like in a dorm. You had like maybe a 3 concrete block wall, and you had those bunk beds. You had a locker where you could put your clothes in instead of putting it over the foot of the bed and get woke up by a woman guard, especially when you was having a good dream. And but I don't want you people to get in trouble, to go to jail or go to prison, because I'm not going to judge you. There's other people probably judge you, but I'm not God. God is the judge, the prosecutor, your lawyer, the jury, and the police officer. God can only judge you. I'm not going to judge you. I might not like you. I'll talk to you, but you remember last year when Charlie Kirk got murdered? You all remember when Charlie Kirk got murdered? His wife went on national TV that she forgave him for killing her husband. Because Charlie was a religious person. And, I'm not going to judge you. It's not up to me to judge you. I talk to you, hang with you, but I'm not going to judge you. It's not up to me to judge you. What would I do if someone killed one of my kids? That's hard to answer. It's hard to answer. It'd be awful hard. I know how parents feel about their kids. It's that'd be a hard question for me to answer. You know, because that'd get me in trouble. Because God don't want me to judge people. Well, my favorite bird, it'll come, let's see, this is what, February, March, April, May, I think about June, I think, is the hummingbirds. I like the hummingbirds. If you all know about how helicopters, they go up, down, front, backwards, just like a hummingbird. And I guess my second bird will be a woodpecker. I got a younger woodpecker this year, but the other woodpecker would fly into the tree. It looks like a W. And I put food up there. That bird will walk down the tree, get in where that W is, and eat the food. Then he get back on the big tree limb, walk up the tree, then he flies off. You know, sometimes the birds don't pay attention. When they take off, they hit my big picture window. But you know, since the weather's changed and there's no snow out there, they're not eating me out of house and home because I think that bird feeder is either 1 or 2 pounds of bird seed. I'll probably start filling it up. I like hummingbirds. Like I think either the first year or second year. Maybe it was the first year. Either first or second year. And they usually leave about around September, October. Like this hummingbird, like he kind of tap on the window. You know, he's flying like, we see you next year, Daddy. Then it flies away, then I know. Usually I wait a week longer before I take my hummingbird feeder down and wash it all out and put that away for the wintertime. But I kind of like the hummingbirds. You know, I got a hummingbird feeder. My neighbor got 2 hummingbird feeders. Another hummingbird shows up. If that's not his mate, he chases it away. Then it comes down here and they chase it away from this hummingbird feeder. Man, they all got to share. You know, they don't like to share, but my dad always fed the birds in the wintertime. Dad knew some farmers. Dad always how they are. They're kind of territorial. You know, I got red birds out that comes up, and the old people always said the red birds, which is the cardinals, is like angels. I got this one red bird. It's a he because it's the real dark red. That's a male red bird. He is sit on that limb and look at me, and I wave at him. You know, like maybe the red birds are angels. What I hate the blue jays. Them blue jays is mean. And them little sparrows, I guess you call them sparrows, the little birds that stays here summer and winter, especially at my neighbor's house, because they got a nice big birdhouse out in the front yard. Since it's warm, since I've been up in the 60s for about the past week, I did see some robins, because robins will not eat bird seed. They only eat bugs and fishing worms. I don't know why they won't eat bird seed. I'm not an expert on robins. Robins only eat bugs and fishing worms. And I had this one squirrel. It get on the tree limb, walk over to the bird feeder, come down the rope, and lean over with his mouth and start eating some bird seed, but holding on with his back feet. I get a kick out of watching the squirrel eat, but I love squirrels. I think they're cute and very smart. Then I got this ugly looking overgrown mouse. I call it overgrown mouse, but it's a possum. And if there's any cat food on the porch, they come up there and eat it. But I don't put that much cat food out there. I put enough cat food out there for breakfast. If there's any left at supper time, yeah, you know. Let's see, I've been on here an hour, 9 minutes, and 14 seconds. Well, and make sure, people, that you thank a nurse for their service. They don't get that enough. So make sure you thank a nurse for their service. The next time you go visit somebody in a hospital. Thank you, 709 and Doctor, and thank all my moderators. And since tomorrow's Sunday here in the United States, have a good Sunday at church. And I'll catch you all later. I love you. And everybody else, thank you, my family. Thank you all very much. I'll catch you later.